Hey, everybody, and welcome to this episode. In this episode, we're going to discuss how an AI tool can potentially solve all your Slack issues of too many channels with too many informations by just summarizing it for you. Then we're going to talk about an e-bike which has ChatGPT, potential waste of money, or a genius idea. And last but not least, the latest news between Bart and ChatGPT. Stay tuned and let's get right in. Let's go, Mucky Boy. All right. Today, Mark, I have two interesting topics. Actually, this entire episode is only going to be about AI. And I have two interesting topics. One I think is super useful. And the other one, we'll see and let the audience of you obviously decide whether they think it's useful or more like a gimmick tool. And yeah, Mark. So I just want to give you a framework. Imagine you, for example, in our Slack with Overwolf, you've seen the announcement channel or another thread, and you haven't checked the Slack in a few days, and then you have to try to catch up. Isn't that super painful? Or let's say, imagine you're on vacation. Well, we're not on vacation, but in general, you have a group chat in WhatsApp or whatever, and then you see freaking 100 messages, right, in Slack or wherever, and in that one channel, you're like, God damn it. I mean, it's different if it's just the bros and just memes. But imagine it's work related.
Man, even the memes, bro. The memes.
Yeah.
Oof.
I mean, the memes you can't catch up, right? Because it's just like, Jesus Christ. It's not just a meme anymore. Now it's all video. So you're like, all right, let me just spend per GIF or video just like 5 to 10 seconds. So that just adds up. Before it was just like a meme.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Exactly. No, all right. This AI tool, basically what it is, it's a bot that you'll directly invite into Slack. And then you can say, hey, please summarize me this thread. So it just directly actually texts you, DMs you summaries, like you can say, hey, I want to have each day or each few days a summary of what happens in this channel. So it's called Spoke.ai. I also uploaded it to our Slack or installed it. It's quite interesting, and I think it's super useful. I think this is one of the tools that can really help companies, or in general, if you're on developer platforms, or you want to see the latest updates on ChatGPT or Midjourney, that you can also later have that on Discord, because like those summaries can be quite useful. And I think that's a really useful tool. What are your
And
thoughts,
that only
Mark?
works. So, a few questions. So, this only works on Slack, or does it also work on Discord?
No, Spoke AI only works right now for just for Slack. Well, it works also for other. It works also for Notion, also Figma, GitHub, etc. But it doesn't work like for Discord. Sadly, not yet.
Is it free,
But
or how does it, like, what's
yes,
their
right.
monetization?
Well, at least for Slack, yes. If you want to have it for anything else, it costs something. Well, you can book a demo. You don't. It's because it's still early access. But yeah.
Actually, super cool. I like it. I like.
Also, what's quite interesting about this, because especially for bigger companies, because it's all about privacy issues, right? Because you don't know what actually the AI data uses and then saves and then also shares with others, right? And this is basically designed so it's a black box, so it will not send out data, which it might be super interesting for like small and medium companies or anybody who uses Slack, because like you don't want your data, or you don't want the AI to be trained on your data. So at one point in time, somebody else can just like, hey, can you give me the summary of company X of Tesla's Slack? And then it can send it to you. So I think that's interesting and really important. And I was like, at the beginning when I saw it, I was like, why is privacy first design so important? But then I was like, yeah, of course, like you can just text everything and you can probably just go around all the safe rails or safeguards. So
Yeah,
I think that's
you just have to
quite
hack
interesting.
spoken, and then you get everyone's. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
so. Yep, makes sense. I mean, in general, I think that's a problem, or there will be a common problem with AI, is since you are teaching it based on your data. So I think whatever the company, if it is online, if it's hosted in the cloud, this should become a problem. And I think cybersecurity will be bigger and bigger, even though it's already massive. And think about banks. I don't know.
Man.
If they ever use AI, I think this could be problematic. I think they will only have offline versions. And then at some point, I don't know, do we get there? But when AI can actually start hacking, oof, I think this will be
but
problematic.
for a bank, you have to separate, right? So let's say, for example, a bank customer support. Man, that would be amazing. Because let's be real, customer support sucks. Like just the other day, when you're like in general, when you're trying to go
All
get
right,
like
okay,
what's
okay,
it?
yeah, okay. But I meant for the main service. I get it. So that sucks if you have to call and all that shit. Main service, I mean the actual banking. But it just said another thing. All right. So in general, AI in hacking users' passwords, etc. Think about it this way: you have whatever app, and on the side function, it just takes in all the fucking keys that are stroke. So, and since it can see patterns and knows, for example, if you're in the browser or not, at some point it will know if you type in a password or not. So then it can store all of these, send them to whoever had this, and this can be used then to hack the information, especially bank accounts. Think about it.
Well,
They're usually just numbers. You have to type in numbers. So you know numbers, enter, numbers,
but that
and then,
requires that it knows the access to the keyboard, right? That it knows the keyboard
yeah,
strokes.
but it could be, nah, I mean, think about it. It could be like, hey, this is a how to write better keyboard AI tool.
Oh
Just
yeah,
give
I
it
mean,
access to
of
it.
course. I
Boom,
mean,
motherfucker.
that is true. I mean, but that could be also for any phishing email. I mean, it exists as long as who hasn't been
Everything.
invited by the Nigerian prince or one of the Nigerian prince to help him move some of
Help
his
me.
millions.
Help me,
Um,
please.
exactly. So who hasn't been there? But yeah, I think that will always exist. I mean, I think what's way more scary is the when they basically copy your voice and then can just call whatever your parents or whatever and be like, "Hey,
Oh,
mom, I'm
yeah,
not,
yeah.
I'm in a tricky situation.
Yeah,
Please
yeah,
send
no,
me
no,
some
makes
money."
sense.
I think that's way more disturbing. Um, but yeah, but
100%.
that's for another episode. And Mark, all right, I have another question before we start hopping into yours.
Ooh.
One, what is the most efficient animal in the world?
Animal.
Yes, animal.
Um, Wait, in what sense? Like sweat? Because I know that one. I know that one.
No, it
If you
can
can,
travel. No, it can travel. Doesn't need as many energy. So energy consumption wise, for traveling.
jellyfish.
Yes. Damn, that was a good one. Yes, it's actually jellyfish. Now, all right, Mark.
Boom! I'm a fucking beast.
Now, okay. So the most efficient animal is actually the jellyfish. That's correct. A quick break in the pod. I want to talk to you guys about good gaming etiquette. So, Mark, what is a good gaming etiquette? Well, thanks for asking, Lucas. A good gaming etiquette is when you got carried in a game or you just enjoyed it, you had good teammates, you drop that GG well played in the chat and thank the player for being part of it. Ah, I see what you're doing there. So, same with this podcast. If you enjoy it, share it with a friend, subscribe, and of course, leave us a comment and review. Now, enjoy the show. Machen wir doch mal. War gut, aber. Quick break in the pod. All right, guys, I want to talk to you about good gaming etiquette. So, Mark, what is a good gaming etiquette? Well, thanks for asking, Lucas. Good gaming etiquette is when you enjoyed a game, you got carried, or you had a great teammate, you just drop that GG well played in the chat and thank the other teammates for being there. Ah, I see what you did there. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this pod, please leave a comment, share it with a friend, and of course, leave a review. And now keep enjoying the show. I like, aber Lukas, du hast Now, if you give a human being a bicycle, it instantly becomes like the most efficient animal on this planet. Or human
Really?
being on, yes. Because it can travel so much more distance without, like, imagine you get a bicycle, this guy can easily like drive 100, 200 kilometers a day.
Unless, Lucas, it is
He
using one
rolls
of
that
these
shit.
beasting ones here, and they fucking have flat tires, then it becomes even less
Yes.
efficient.
Yeah, well, you can just grab an e-bike, and that's a segue to our next one: gimmick or not. So, Mark, I was just seeing through the latest ChatGPT or AI news, and then I just like stumbled upon Utopia. Wait, let me just share my screen very quickly. Yep, share
Utopia. Is there also a
screen.
dystopia?
years later, and the website is open. And let us just charge for a second. Now it is. Here we
Now
go,
it
bad
is.
boys. So basically, Urtopia presented. It's like this is a company, an e-bike company, presented on the Eurobike 2023, which is actually in Frankfurt, and it's one of the biggest bike
Really?
conventions. Yeah, it's in Frankfurt. One
Huh.
of the biggest bike conventions in the world. And they presented the first e-bike with integration with ChatGPT. Now, interesting
Okay.
concept. So it's like, okay, so you want directions, it can directly tell, you can talk to it. It can, like, for example, you're going through a city tour, and then you can just talk to it, and it will directly give you directions, or will tell you about the latest, what you're seeing. So let's say, for example, you're going to a tour through Barcelona, Sagrada Familia, it will just tell you about Sagrada Familia, etc. So it's like a basically smart city, right? So that's one of the concepts. And then the other thing is, which I think is quite interesting, is that it can directly integrate. So, for example, with your Apple Watch, because basically they have an app which
Okay.
also connects to Strava. Strava is basically the bike,
Yeah.
the app for anybody who like rides bikes, because it's like for tracking, etc. And now I think this is really, really
Fitness
smart.
bikes, like literally
Yeah,
like road bikes that doing
race
it
bikes,
professionally,
race
kind of.
bikes,
Yeah, exactly.
racing
Yeah.
bikes. So imagine you want to say I want to do cardio in zone 2, right? Not zone 1, zone 2 or 3. Now, you can integrate directly with the Apple Watch. Now, the Apple Watch gives you data or whatever you're using, like the band for around your stomach, of your
Yeah.
heart rate. Now, based on your heart rate, which zone you're in, the e-bike will give you less help or more help, meaning you always stay in the zone of that cardio range, right? Which I
That's
think
cool.
is quite interesting. And then you can, like, you say, okay, I want to do zone 2 cardio or zone 3 cardio. All right, then basically you don't have any help at all or just a little bit. So you're always in this range. So you can hit your target of, let's say, 40 minutes or 50 without manually thinking about it. You just like go with your rhythm, and it just makes it harder or easier. So I think that's really, really cool concept.
For me, it will be like no sweat mode. It's 100%
Oh yeah,
electric.
this guy, I just stare at the pedal and just like some e-bikes here in
Fucking
Barcelona.
rocket. That's how you have to do it, man. You just gotta make sure the
Also,
brake works.
what I thought is super, super interesting is that they have like an integrated tracking. So like, man, when I saw the e-bike, I was like, all right, I gotta investigate the company more. So, and they posted a story of a guy who got their bike stolen in the US. And they were able to
Oh.
track it still, like, because they have like an integrated tracker. And then he could recover the bike with the police. Quite interesting.
What's the difference between that and just using Apple Tag? Not the
Yeah,
same.
well, because the Apple tag is not in the frame, right? So how do you get it into the frame? So the problem
There's
is
actually a lot of things, a lot of ways to do it. Because Timmy Boy was talking about it.
yeah,
There's a
yeah,
lot of
but
people that can do it.
let's put it this way: it's more pain. It's more painful. Also, you can directly, remotely, like turn on the light or whatever, play sounds, so you can identify where exactly it is. Yeah, it's quite interesting. I thought it was super, super cool. Cool concept. And now,
That is really
Maki
cool.
Boy, tell me
All right.
about our
Is it
last topic
my?
of this episode. Yes, sir.
All right. This is another Ready to Rumble episode. All right. It is fight night in the tech world. We've already had it, Facebook versus Twitter, Mark Zuckerberg versus the Elon. And now we go in the second round. We already had it, or people were probably not aware of it. Everybody has been using ChatGPT. Lucas, when do you use ChatGPT? How often do you use ChatGPT? Tell me your story about ChatGPT.
Yes. No, so I would say I will use it at least 5 times per week, if not 6 days. Well, yeah, probably 5 days a week I'm using ChatGPT. Normally, I can use it for translation because it's like really, really good. For example, if you have certain terms, if you translate them once, it will remember,
Yeah.
so you don't have to adjust it for the future. Whereas Google Translate just sometimes it just like it's not as great in that terms. So that's really, really cool. Also for like if I want to like, hey, I want to write a blog post, give me a structure. So ChatGPT is pretty great for that one. Something that you can even let it write your text, and then you just rewrite it manually afterwards. But yeah, for that, ChatGPT is pretty
Look
amazing.
at this boy. Got the sales pitch down. He's like, let's go. He's like,
Of
so
course,
please
premium
ship
user for months
OpenAI.
already.
Exactly. It's like OpenAI, please. I want an affiliate link. Thank you very much.
Of course, gotta pay for
All
rent
right.
somehow, right?
So then the question to the audience. All right, you guys have heard of ChatGPT or you live under a freaking rock, but have you guys heard of Bard? Yeah, it got awfully quiet out
I
there.
did.
Yeah, maybe you, motherfucker. But the rest are like, chirp, 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 chirp.
All right, Mark.
Bard is
Tell
a
us
fucking
who is Bart?
disaster. All right, Bard, first of all, is the Google version of of ChatGPT for basically, and it's their chatbot, and they released it actually a few months ago. But let's put it this way, it was shit. So it didn't work properly. It was only released in a few countries, or actually, I think just in the US, it started off. Now it is available in more than 40 languages. And you have now integrations in all the Google suites, I guess. So you have like Google Lens, you can upload images with prompts. It's super interesting. First of all, I think what I thought was super cool is that it can read out prompts, and you can also have text, like text to speech and speech to text. So you can talk to the bot as well as the bot can talk to you, which I find super super cool. Why do I find this super cool? Well, for the end user, like if you directly chat with a bot, it's more practical when you're on the go. So you can talk to it and give you answers like Siri or like any kind of other what we currently use. But the cooler thing is even for developers. All right, think about it this way. What can you do when you have to text with a bot? Not that much. You can do a few things, few applications. But now, if you can use your voice and it can talk back to you, you can have way, way, way more complex businesses around that.
All right, I'm gonna
Oh,
be
what are you
here the
thinking?
counterpart. So
Yeah.
ChatGPT also allows you to speak to it. So if you have the mobile app, you can just directly say, "Hey, um, hey, what's the weather?" Oh no, not even the weather. You can just say, "Hey, when was Sakura Familia built? Who was the designer? And why is it so tall? And why is it still not finished when they promised it to being finished 5 years ago?" So yeah,
So the question is for you, does it talk to you though?
no, it just directly
Exactly.
text it.
And I'm telling you, this one goes out to all the
At least
ladies
in
out
this,
there.
at least in
Bot
this,
has a nice voice.
it does. It does it use your own voice, or how does it come? No?
No. So it's actually pretty cool. It uses Bart's voice. I don't know who, whatever. It's probably an artificial intelligence voice. I like it a lot. It's super cool. But on the other hand, you're right, because OpenAI probably, or some company will build on top of OpenAI. It's just a plugin that you plug in and be like, okay, now you have voice. I don't know. Maybe Chris Hemsworth or whoever you like is now talking to you, and which is also super, super cool. But what I find super fascinating, or in general, why I also think it's fight night time, is that because we've seen in the last couple of months two things. Large companies are like, I don't know, invading each other's territory. Facebook versus Twitter. Like Facebook is like literally like released a clone with threads on Twitter, and we're seeing, I don't know if it's gonna be, I think it's gonna work. What do you think, Lucas? I mean, we talked already about
I
this
believe it's
before.
so what I've seen so far is basically that we all know Twitter can be quite toxic and always had a problem about like filtering out all the bad comments. But if you've seen, for example, lately on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, like there are not that many like horrible comments. Like I don't know, you suck and etc. So they're really, really good at filtering. They're spending a lot of money in that one. And for example, as well as in TikTok, if you can see it, they're all positive comments on most of them because like they're doing a really great job at filtering them out, which seeds a community. As we know, it's really, really important to build this community. And the same with like threads now. They were really, really focused. So Mark actually said that they're really focusing on trying to build that positive like this positive community around it, and I believe that's really going to be a huge difference. Is it going to be bigger than Twitter? Might be. I believe
I think so.
in it because in the
I
end,
think so.
because in the end, for me, I'm not really a Twitter user. So for me, I don't want to use like a different platform. But if it's like directly integrated, or I can use or find the people that I'm anyways already following on Instagram. Might be much easier. Also, because it's a new platform, as we all know, starting a new platform comes out, it might be easier to also grow. So
Yeah.
as a newcomer, right? So for this reason, I think it's really, really cool. And I look at it very positive and believe Twitter will still exist around, but I believe that Threads will be bigger than Twitter.
All right, then another one from Mark to Marky Mark. It's time. Please give us access. Thread is not live in the EU yet, so please, my boy,
That's true.
give us some
Well,
access.
that's
No,
as we talked in the last episode. That's
yeah,
more a problem of the European Commission.
I know, I know. Anyways, coming back to the topic, I think it's super interesting, and I think we'll see more and more of these big boys fighting each other because AI is making everything so much more competitive. And the thing is this, AI, as people think about it, is like it's just a tool, but they don't really realize it's a platform. So Lucas, why is it important that you are the company that created a platform that people build on?
Well, all right, let's go back in history. For example, Facebook, right? Facebook was one of these paradigm shifts. First, what they built was just a social network. All right, great. Then they said, all right, we're going to become a developer platform so people can build, for example, games on top of Facebook. So that was really, really good. They enabled Facebook login. Awesome. If you have a social login, everybody just will keep using Facebook login. I'm still to this day use Facebook login, even though I don't even use Facebook anymore. So I'm just like, I don't even remember last time using Facebook, just, well, Instagram, WhatsApp, etc., but not Facebook itself. But still, the login consists, and it's not like, I don't know how many years it already exists. Now, the same goes with ChatGPT, etc., because in the end, those learning, large language learning models.
Lucas, calm down. I'm getting there, bro. Relax,
But you're
bro.
asking.
No, I'm
So
asking
just,
about
got excited.
platforms,
I
bro.
got so excited.
I know. Ruhig, Braune. No,
Hold your horses.
but I think another one I wanted to use another example. Well, also the cool thing is about if the Facebook login, Facebook gets some of the data, which is super interesting. But another thing people maybe might be more interesting or people can relate to is what Apple did, right? So what Apple did is when they released the iPhone, they made it also a platform by creating the App Store.
Yeah.
So they created the App Store, and now you have so many more. You crowdsource basically all the content, well, applications, etc., that you can build on top of it, making it much more innovative, much more interesting for the end user. This is also a reason why, for example, BlackBerry went out of market because they were like, "Hey, whatever app is on the BlackBerry, we have to build ourselves," which
But
sucks.
also, iPhone was so much better than BlackBerry. Let's be real.
Yeah, but
Became
why was it
mechanical
also much
keyboard on
better?
it.
Yeah, but BlackBerry got there eventually. It didn't make a difference. It's the same. All right, then if you go on that way, Lucas, let's argue. Come on, because I think it is because it was also early. And think about it, Nokia, they also had at some point a fucking smartphone, but they decided to go with Microsoft. Well, Microsoft bought them as well. Microsoft opened their own app store, but it failed anyways because they couldn't
Well,
attract
they
enough
only OS,
developers.
right? They couldn't. The OS was pretty shitty. They had like these tiles, those tiles. That
Yeah,
I
but
don't know
because it was
if people still
Microsoft.
remember.
Exactly, and that's why if they went with Google, that would have been probably still around.
That's true.
Facts.
That is true. Well, I'm not sure whether it's a fact, but yeah, I mean, Google.
It's a fact in my head,
Android's pretty
okay? Leave me be.
All right. So, all right, Mark, continue with your app store. So,
All right. So because
analogy.
because now Apple, or back in the day Apple, released this, or Google, they were like, hey guys, this is a platform basically you can develop, etc. on it. You have much more innovation, much faster happening. And this is now what AI is doing. So basically, they're building the new app store on top of everything that is data related, or in general, any kind of business that can use AI. They'll be built on either OpenAI or Google, or maybe there's some other competitors that are coming out. And with that, it's going to be incredible. Why? Because if you're using that, they can use like a tax on top, like the Apple tax, I don't know if you're aware of it, but if you are a developer and you're selling an app on the Apple App Store, you pay a 30% tax on top.
No, yes and no. So right now, what they actually changed. So if you're making over a certain amount of money, they reduce it to 15%. So you can go for.
They did that they did it 2 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Before it was always that. So it's
Which is
until a
really,
million
really smart.
actually.
And it's just like, if you think about it, how many billions they make with it. It's like same with iTunes, right? So iTunes was really, really great for that one. Then the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. I mean, we see it also, right? Overboth the same concept. And yeah, of course. And now
So
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT, they can charge you for computational powers, etc., which is super. Obviously, it costs them as well, but better believe they have a fucking margin on top of that. So they're gonna make a lot of money, and they can also keep improving their product. So I think this is why they're now fighting for dominance. Who wants to, like, which platform they're gonna build on? I think Google probably had already a crisis meeting with one or two, and they're like, guys, we gotta fucking invest everything into Bard, because if you're losing this race, we're not gonna be such of a relevance anymore, because people might not Google anymore, etc. And obviously, there's gonna be regulation as well around it, but that's something for a different topic. So I think this is gonna be a difference between like $1 billion and $1 trillion market cap, and even higher. Because we've seen already, Google is almost at $1 trillion. Apple was already $1 trillion, is higher now. And this could be then, hey, 10 trillion or whatever the next market cap is. Because this is so huge, it has an impact on so many freaking parts of life, I believe. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, in the end, also, because I also have to think about the ones that are less known. For example, Shopify. Shopify is a huge app store, or so I thought all of this is super, super interesting because as soon as you have it, you keep your users into it, right? You can just keep them plugged in. So that I think that's really, really important. Same with ChatGPT. Every day there's like in the beta store, you can see more and more applications as well as like really, really cool tools. Maybe, for example, on ChatGPT, you have an integration of Kayak. So for those who don't know, Kayak is a website, a travel agency. So you can just say, hey, I want to travel from Barcelona to Miami. Book me the flights as well, hotels, give me everything, spit it out, and it will do it for you. So that's like a super, super cool part of
That's cool.
integration.
I like.
And we're seeing it all over the place. And so I believe that's going to be happening the same because, again, those large language models, they just becoming more and more replaceable. But the thing that keeps people in are the plugins or the features that other people build on top of it. So I believe that's why now, of course, the fight is on between ChatGPT, Bard, and yeah, we'll see. Well, of course, you also have Bing Chat, right? So that's also one you shouldn't be forgetting, even though Microsoft invested a big chunk in ChatGPT as well. But yeah,
So that's why it's OpenAI / Microsoft versus Google, actually. All right, summarizing, key takeaway, Microsoft versus Google, who's going to be relevant, who is going to be a multi-trillion-dollar company, or who's just going to be Billy of the year. Now, fuck this shit. They're going to...
Trilly of the month or year.
Trilly of the year, so they're going to do it. Let's see how this plays out. I'm super excited. Let's fucking go.
Still, for me, before we close this one, for me, it's like interesting. Think about it. Microsoft, like the last few years, like they make such a big comeback because before, like the relevance, like Microsoft just like Microsoft. I don't think about like really like.
I think that's a topic for a different part, Lucas. This is fucking amazing because the CEO did everything right. With the AI move, this guy was a fucking tiger, bro. He did
Genius
move.
Genius move. It was a genius move. All right, guys. Then let's keep this for the next episode. And all right, twins out.
Peace.